According to the Springfield College website, basketball was invented by Springfield College student and later instructor James Naismith in 1891. This means basketball has been around for over 130 years. I've been playing basketball for a short 12 years at that time span. Basketball has gone through many changes over my lifetime. People have found more efficient ways to shoot the basketball, thus increasing shooting percentages. Today, I'm going to be telling you guys how to shoot the basketball the most efficiently. You'll only need 2 items to complete this task. Number 1, a basketball, and number 2, a basketball hoop. Before we dive in, I would like to establish my credibility on how I know how to shoot a basketball. I've been taking lessons since the 5th grade from a man named Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was the Columbus High coach in the 80s and 90s and has won numerous Class A state championships. He has analyzed numerous NBA players' shots film and has helped high school players all over the state improve their shots. I'm also a varsity starter on the girls basketball team, so I know a thing or two about shooting. To begin, you grab your basketball and you would like to hold it with your hands parallel to each other. You don't want to hold it like this with your hand on top of the ball because your elbow will be sticking out. Plus, it's more natural. We don't walk around like this. We walk around with our hands parallel. So you want to do what's most natural. The next thing you need to focus on is where your fingers are. Your fingers need to create a T with the basketball, but a few inches apart. This allows for optimal grip. So you start with here with your hands parallel, and then you go to where the T is positioned with your hands. The next thing you should focus on is your footwork. Your feet need to be about shoulder width apart, not too wide because then you can't jump, but not too shallow either because you also can't jump. They need to be perfectly shoulder width apart. Your right foot should be slightly ahead of your left foot to allow for optimal balance. You should also have a slight bend to your knees so you're able to get more power to get the ball into the hoop. Now, when you actually shoot the ball, there are 3 things you need to remember. You need to make sure to have backspin on your ball. You don't want to just push it because then there's less chance of the ball going into the hoop. You need to have backspin so it's able to flip into the front of the rim if you miss short. You also need to remember to keep your guide hand up. Your guide hand is what keeps the ball from moving from side to side. You want to keep it up as long as possible so you're able to have control over the ball. The last thing you need to remember is your arch. You don't want to have too little arch because it'll just hit the front of the rim and come back to you. But if you have too much arch, it'll hit the hoop at an awkward angle, which makes your chance of making the basket even smaller. So, to review, you need to have your feet about shoulder width apart with a slight knee bend, have your hands in the shooting pocket, and then release with much backspin and perfect arch. Now, these are a lot of steps to remember, and it takes time to accomplish them all. But when you're in a game, you don't have time to think about every single step. This is where practice comes in. Practice may not make perfect, but it definitely makes better. Basketball has been around for over a century, like I mentioned before, but it is still the same sport that it is today. It requires attention to detail, quick thinking, and much practice. Thank you guys for listening to my speech, and get to practicing.